Right here's an old stone wall. This is called Roush Creek Camp. This was an old coal town years ago. The railroad came through this part of the Appalachian Trail. Tonight we are camped out along the Appalachian Trail. We're camped in here, nice and cozy in an old Kelty tent. Okay, so we're tucked in here for a night. This tent has a nice flap to cover up your boots or your pack out here. It's actually a two-person Kelty, and I got a Kelty sleeping bag, which is a smaller standard sleeping bag for 20 degrees. So also I got Cliff Bars, peanut butter and chocolate. Okay, time for call it quits today. And we're gonna head to sleep here. So, good night. Right, so it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm at Roush Creek settlement area. There's nothing left here but rocks and old foundations. We're going to take a look around and we're going to travel up through the coal country on the Appalachian Trail. Load up our bag. Take a look at all these sites that were left from time gone by. Right here where we camped is a Roush Creek settlement. And if I remember correctly, I think there was 1,100 people living here. These are humongous boulders here. Stony Creek. And you can see why they call it Stony Creek. Now here, looks to me like a humongous well. And rocks have been piled up since it was used, but it's right along the Roush Creek, and you can see how they stacked the stone in early times. Very huge well. There was a wall for sure, maybe even an entryway there. You can see they built up the wall. I'm thinking that could have been a big building, but I know for sure this is where their houses were. Now right here for sure there's an old house. You can follow them rock ledges and it's real distinct. There's a corner there going over this corner, so you can distinctly see that edge. This seems to be the largest of them all. And if you look past that dark tree, the skinny tree in the back, that rock wall goes right here to a corner, all the way over here and back. So if you have any ideas, not too sure what this building would have been, or this area, maybe it was to hold animals. It's pretty large for a building. Area to hold spring water, but it looks like it to me. Time has a way of erasing things, but this is a large stone corralled area. Now here's the remains of an old cemetery back in here to remember the people. I imagine one like that. That's back in the mid 1800s for sure. A lot of memory just in a rock. Now here, off the beaten path, found this amazing relic from like the times of them digging coal. There's a coal digger. I mean, you can see this. It's just amazing stuff that's left behind the history. And hardly anybody knows it's here. It's just amazing that it just lasts. People, you know, would really appreciate seeing this, and I'm going to show you around here. Take a look at them treads. Now that's old school technology. Big cast iron plate. You know, it's still remaining, and look how thick that is, that frame for the wheels. And the little tiny rollers underneath. That thing could have done business back then. You take a look at the pulley system for them cables. And think of all the work they did. Think of this. An old bucket like this. Digging away. Making ends meet. Think of the man that operated this in the 1800s, early 1900s. The old foot pedals, the old levers. There's levers all the way back through. The amazing pulley system. Gears back there. Now that is impressive. Let's take a look inside the back. There you go, there's the engine. Probably a little newer than I expected. That has to be in the early 1900s. If it is older than that, it's amazing. What's the name on there? You guys got that? STORHEY. Anybody knows? Comment. Found a name in the back. Call this the General. The old General still remains. Now I'm walking through the mountains from where the old coal digger was, or you could call it the General. But you look at some of the creeks and streams, how they turned orange. This is a stream right out of the mountain, and you wonder how old this stream really is and who used it. You think at one moment it was good water, but all the coal digging has its toll. The water can be a little scarce. So right here we have a spring coming through, and I'll show you what we'd have to do to purify it. So the most popular purifying system for hikers on the Appalachian Trail would be this system. It's like a squeeze system filter. This is made by Sawyer. So what you do, you want to blow this open, and most times you have enough water you can just lay this in and collect it. But it does come with a syringe. You can pull the water out. So you'll lay the water in. But if you'd fill this up, you can actually screw this end on. Right like that. You could even put it on a soda bottle, like a 2-liter bottle. So you got pure water coming out. Now a lot of people don't know this, but if you keep walking on the Appalachian Trail, there's more than meets the eye. There's a place called Yellow Springs, an old coal settlement. People lived here long ago on top of a mountain. Now you walk along here, you'll see these piles of stones with trees growing in them. I reckon that's old houses, foundations from long ago. You notice here's one. Over there's a pile. There's one more pile of stone. If you look down here, there's actually a little wall and a dug out area here. It's the same thing over and over. Tree growing in the middle of a pile of rocks. And you look again to the right and there's another dugout area. So perhaps a basement area or a stone fireplace over on this end. Now this here in particular is pretty neat. This is off the beaten path. And if you look, you can see a row of houses here. So very neat to see. You know, every time I come up here to this tower, more of a piece of history falls off. So that's why I came here again. Just want to remind you guys the history that's out there. This tower's a mystery to people. It's probably built by the Native Americans, if not before that. It's an obelisk tower. It's very interesting to think of what would have went on in this mountain and the significance of this tower. Was it something used in worship as a Native American, or was it before that time? And there's a lot to the Appalachians, and we're going to take a look around this tower to see if we can find a little more and understand this a little better. So let's look at this. Now there was a wall built next to this tower, and I'm thinking that could have been done afterwards. But if you look at the color of the stone on this, it is different, and they are shaped different. If you look at the center, it may have been open in the center. It's interesting to see. It's worth braving the weather, and it's worth the time. We take a look closer. I've noticed the mortar is different also, but this is a redder stone. The color is definitely interesting. I'm going to take you to the back of this here, but look at the multicolored stone. And if you look close, yellows, orange, red, black, burgundy, goes the whole way up like that. A shaky looking tower, but originally it was 3 times this size. And right here you can get an idea what they use for mortar. Sand, gravel, not the modern day mortar. I don't think there wasn't others interested in this at times. I think years ago people had a inkling of what could have been going on, because there's pits dug nearby, and there's a very large one over here. This particularly is super large. If you noticed, there's the ground level, and all the way down there, I'm saying a good 30 feet. Just want to get a close-up view of this chiseling that was done to square the edges of the rocks. And it makes you wonder what tool they had. You can see that pretty clear there.